Hey everybody, and welcome back to What's the Formula. So, I kind of already did this one a little bit. Someone wanted to see it in better detail. So, without further ado, Ultimate Ruthless Aggression Era Funaki. So, I used a Ric Flair torso. The skin tone matched perfectly. I also used Ric Flair legs. I carefully took them. This is originally an Edge Legends black and or white and gold, and I acetoned off the little gold remnants on there. I plugged them in; they worked perfectly, and then I switched to a Chad Gable lower leg boot combo with the sock strap. I mean, I could take the socks off, but I kept them just, it works for for him. I think sometimes he did have socks showing, sometimes he didn't have socks showing. And then all I did was I got some arms with white wrist tape. I do believe it was a Stunning Steve, which also again matched really well with the Ric Flair. And you can kind of see I just Mod Podged and painted it myself. I guess I could be a little bit more careful, but watching it, I noticed that he didn't. It wasn't like he had like a sleeve design. He literally would just tape white wrist tape around his wrist, and then he would tape blue around his wrist, and sometimes it would not be centered perfectly. Obviously, freezing and watching a lot of Velocity episodes, I saw a lot of Funaki. He was very common on this. Then, using the decals from Curb City Customs, I was able to get the blue stripes. I made sure to really get those lined up. Little different, a little missing on this side over here, unfortunately, but I'm not too worried about it. I could always overlap it, I guess, a little bit more, but really phenomenal job, I felt like. I've only been starting doing decals like I think a week ago, so I've only done a few people, many people more now that I realize how challenging they can be, but also how satisfying they can be when they're done correctly. I've added the SmackDown one in there. I've Mod Podged it so that way no risk of it falling off unless I put it back in hot water and pry it off there. But why would I do that to this person? I'm gonna build Taka Michinoku in the future. Of course, obviously that's torso swapped naturally because you have to use Ric Flair and Edge lower. And then I just use a Jax Funaki head. Now I could go get the one with the blonde highlights in it, and I may or may not. This works really well from afar. Maybe it's a little off on the paint, but I mean, really, I can't tell. From afar, can you tell? Looks like a, standard figure. Obviously, a little bit of, crackage that I wish I could have sealed. A little bit of prying on this Rick I had to do a little bit. I tried to use a Zacto knife. I tried to use a very, very tiny screwdriver to start cracking them. Sometimes I crack them without hot water. I find that a lot of times when you do that, you get a more clean break of all the sockets, the 4 sockets and whatnot. But sometimes you'll heat it up and whatnot. And sometimes they come out and you got 2 or 3, and all you got to do is just replug it back in. I've used him for a few people. The Rick's really good. I've got about 3 more Ric Flairs. This will be the body I use for Canyon. This will probably be the body I use for Jerry Lynn, most likely, and James Storm for sure. So, like I said, there's limited torsos, but I've been able to find good patterns for them. The white here, that's just factory. I can switch the fist. I probably will switch that fist out. That was just standard, factory error. Nothing I could do that with it. I don't paint skin tones. And I'm not going to send it away for someone to paint that when I could just swap it with any other hand I have. I have countless hands like this. So, yeah. I did this as a request to the Figure Dude, who said he really wanted to see it. So, Figure Dude, I'm not just trying to steal your thunder. You make ultimates or elites, that's fine. I'm specializing in turning my entire roster into ultimates. So, of course, the difference is I'm sure there's a huge difference in cost because ultimates are a lot more costlier than some elites, but some elites are still expensive. And I'm not knocking you. Your stuff looks good. I'm not going to steal your formulas. I mean, I look at all my RAs, I look at all my stuff, and I'm just trying to tell people, hey, you want to build ultimates of guys? You like that butterfly joint? You got the money, you got the time, and I like the ultimates better. I don't care for the drop down hips, but I love the butterfly joints. I just love the look of it for some reason better than all the other ones. I mean, it's the highest articulation figure you can get. It's not, someone said it reminded them of the Deluxe Aggression figures. I don't see it. I mean, the Deluxe Aggression were all the same size. Ray was the same size as Kane. I've been able to make, Funaki, and I'll pull out, just for the heck of it, I'll pull this guy out because he's available to grab real quick. Here he is, right here. I've been able to make Funaki, relatively short compared to, well, let's say my custom Matt Morgan. I mean, look at the height difference there. You put, Matt Morgan, which I, just recently finished up. I might be adding the decals to give him more of his TNA look, but like height-wise, he's, so much more taller. So it works really well, I feel like, for having ultimates. So till next time, there's Funaki's formula.